Just Ed Software, and today I'm going to show you how to program remote control panels in MediaSwitcher. I am assuming that you already have MediaSwitcher set up and understand the basic functions of it. Now, to control other devices via remote control panels, we set these up either by, for the first way, we can right-click on a screen and we can say show remote control for that screen. All right. The other way is we can come to our window menu, come down to remote control panels, and here we have some additional options. We can say TV screen remote, generic panel remote, or X keys remote panels. X keys remote panels are for use with X keys USB keypads that can be programmed. But let's this time focus just on the TV screen remote. This is a remote control panel that is for the particular TV screen. We see the screen name up here, family room, and then the source that is currently showing on that screen. We can change the source on a screen by simply picking from the drop-down menu, or we can change the screen we're controlling by selecting the screen at the top. Now let's go to one that does not have any controls programmed so that I can show you here. So let's go to this room here, and for the particular source, let's change to this one. All right, and as you can see, the window has now shrunk to nothing, which means that there is no buttons programmed on that remote panel. To put the panel into programming mode, we right-click with the mouse and select Program Remote Control. We get the following alert box. Click OK. And now our screen opens up to all of the unprogrammed buttons. There is a total of 122 buttons or something like that. In fact, there's more than that now, I think. Anyhow, to program a button that is unprogrammed, simply click it, and you will get the following dialog box showing up. Following window. Now, in this window on the left-hand side, you'll see a number of buttons that are all included with the software. These are device icons, TV channels, number buttons, blank buttons, directional buttons, etc. At the very top, I have some user-saved buttons that are buttons that I have created. You can do the same thing. You just can create your button, drop that in the window here, and you'll be able to use that. You can hide what items are showing simply by clicking on the titles. Clicking on the little arrow next to the title for that section. Okay? Now, Just Add powered devices I'm sorry, let me repeat this. MediaSwitcher controls devices over the network. So, any device that is network controllable via direct TCP/IP connections, we can easily control. You may need to, in fact, you will need to supply the commands for controlling that device. Those are many times included in the programming manual. Like, for example, TVs and so forth have that those commands a lot of times included in their manual. We can program and control devices over RS-232, and we can do that via a Just Add power box and using the serial port on that box. We can also use a global cache network to RS-232 converter. And the third way we can control devices is with infrared. With infrared, we support both global cache IR boxes or the Just Add power flux capacitor. First, let's look at using infrared. To get to the IR codes, we have access to the global cache IR database. We click the button and we'll make a connection to the global cache database. This will sometimes say connecting and loading brands if it hasn't been used in a while. And here we have access to just hundreds of brands of devices. And so let's say it's a Sony. Okay. And let's say the device type, these automatically populate, is a TV. And let's say the model is all model types. And then it loads all of our different functions. So let's say we want to turn the power on. So we come up here, we search for power on. The command is downloaded and sent and populated in the window here. We can also select an icon for that function by selecting it in the left side. Now there's a couple of things with the global cache devices to notice. First of all, if you have a global cache device, many times you can control up to 3 different devices with that single global cache box. For just add power flux capacitors, this is always 1, okay? But it might be 1, 2, or 3 for global cache devices for which IR cable you are using. We select the repeat for how many times we're going to send the code. Maybe we do that 10. It makes a change up here in the command. And we can also test the IR or learn IR with the devices. One very important thing, our software will scan and pick up global cache devices on the network. And you see here on the device we have a Wi-Fi to IR device. This is a Wi-Fi to RS-232 device for controlling something via RS-232. So here we can select our Wi-Fi device. That is populated here and the port is automatically set. Okay. And we could test that out, but we know it's correct. And now we can just hit OK. Our icon is now loaded on the screen. That's all you need to do. Now if we hit escape, we'll see that the window is now populated with the button. And the window will size automatically to the number of buttons you have programmed. Let's talk about a few more functions here. So if I select the button, let me go back to this one. If I select the button I've already programmed, it loads the code. And it even loads what command it is and so forth. Now, if I have, there's a couple of very important things when entering commands. If you see at the end of the device here, we have a \x0d. That is a hex command to send the return. MediaSwitcher will accept hex commands. So like some Samsung TVs for their power on or power off functions, they need hex commands and a lot of them. So hex is entered either by \x0 or \x in the hex code or 0x in the hex code. You can mix ASCII characters and hex characters in the same set of strings. If you are doing multiple hex characters, put a space between each of the different hex codes. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Don't do that. Just enter the hex code straight. All right. Now, if we want to add multiple commands, we can select this button, check this box down here, button has multiple commands, and we can automatically add a delay into the command when we load in the next IR code. By default, the delay is 500 milliseconds. All right, so now let's say we want to turn the power on and automatically go to input HDMI 1 every time we turn the TV on. We can select that. If you notice now, there's delay 500 added and then the new command. And again, the same thing for that new command. We want to make sure that we have 10 cent, and you can see it put 10 in there for both of those. So now the command will turn the TV on, and it will also adjust it to the input. You can manually set the delay to whatever value you want. Delay 1000 would be 1 second, delay 250 would be 250 milliseconds, etc. Okay? A couple other things is you can set up a toggle button where you have different commands. So if you wanted to have a button that, let's say your TV only has a toggle command and not an actual power on and off. So you can set up a toggle button where now you get a command for the press and a command for the release, or a you can have different commands from pressing the button versus releasing the button. You can also do that separate commands for press and release, or you can just do a toggle where it will send different commands. The toggle button, will change the icon between the commands. So if you want to change your icon to just a generic power icon, or on and off, let's say, so you want on for the first press and then off for the second press, you can do that, and then it'll automatically adjust that icon and send that toggle command each time. Okay? All right, so let's go back here. Let's pick another one. So if you want to send, let me show you some other commands here that we already have loaded in the system. So let's go to this one here. So for this one, this is an example where we're using command sent to a device that is actually this device. No, it's not. Well, never mind. This is a device that's actually it should be sent to, oh, I know what this is. This is for my stereo, okay, receiver. It used to my old one utilized an on-link Wi-Fi 232, but the new one does not. It has a direct connection to its IP address and the power command. So this is an example of a direct connection to a device over the network where you can send commands. All right. Here is another example where we're sending a command to turn the volume up and down and so forth. And here we say repeat when button held. As long as the button is held down, it repeats every first half a second, and then as you keep it held down, it goes up to like 100 milliseconds. And then when you release, it releases that. Now you can also do some things. You can create, I'm not going to get into this now, but you can create some macros. You can copy code sets so that you can copy. It's a lot of work to program all these different buttons on a large system and different screens. So you can copy code sets between various screens, and that way you can copy an entire set to all of your TVs. You can also right-click on a button and duplicate that button on different sources, on all the sources, all screens, or all screens and sources. I'm not going to get into tag button for automation right now. We can cover that at another time. So that's it for now. If you have questions, feel free to reach out at support@justaddsoftware.net. Thank you. Have a great day.